Hey guys, and welcome back. Today's video is going to be part 2 of my style Q&A, and thank you guys so much for those of you who have been waiting to have your question answered. I really wanted to make a point of answering everybody's question, which is why this Q&A has been split over 4 parts. It's a little bit ridiculous, I know, but I really just wanted to make sure that I could get to everybody's questions. And there was one viewer who asked about my pets, and just so you know, I will definitely be doing a pet tag coming up so that I can introduce you guys properly to Nigel and Charlotte. But I'm just going to jump right into the questions that I've still got to answer, and the first one comes from Anne, and she asks, what do you look for in quality pieces, hemming, fabric or lining, and how do you know if it's a quality piece? So for me, fabric and feel is such a huge part of knowing whether something is good quality or not. And I have to say, I think I'm a little bit of a fabric snob. I really do want to make sure that what I'm wearing is going to feel really nice against my skin. And personally, I prefer natural fibers over synthetic fibers. So I'll go for things like cotton, wool, cashmere, linen, those types of fabrics over things that are polyester. Because what you'll find is that something like polyester doesn't actually breathe. I mean, it's great if it's a really cold day, but it doesn't breathe at all. So you'll end up finding that you're sweating in what you're wearing, the fabric doesn't really give, and it just doesn't feel as nice against your skin as something that comes from a natural fiber. In terms of things like hemming and those kinds of details, I do quite often tend to spend a little bit more on my clothing, so that kind of is part and parcel of what I am purchasing. But I think if you're looking at things that are a little bit less expensive, have a look and see how things are hemmed inside. Does it look like there are any threads which are about to pull apart? And look for things like, do the seams lie flat? Are the seams even? All of those sorts of details. Verena from My Green Closet has done a really great video on how to look for quality pieces, so I'll link that down below. But I really think that fabric and just looking at how things are stitched together is a really big part of it. In terms of things like embellishments, you can usually just tell at a glance if something has been stitched on well or not. So a lot of it does come with experience and just starting to recognize what makes a well-made item and what doesn't. Claudia asks, who is your favorite designer and why? And I think a lot of you would probably be expecting to hear me say Karen Walker, but in terms of designers in general, I'd probably say that one of my favorites has to be Stella McCartney. She always comes out with really interesting collections. I love the fact that she is so committed to making sure that she is not using leather pieces. While I do personally own lots of leather shoes and a leather jacket, etc., I really love her commitment to that and how it's such a huge part of her brand. And all of her items are just so stunning, really beautiful, and also really well cut. And as someone who has been lusting after the Falabella bag for ages and having gone and seen it in store so many times, you wouldn't know that it isn't leather. It's just made that well. So I really love Stella McCartney. In terms of more local designers, you guys know how much I love Lover. I have been shopping from there for about 13 years, and I think they always just come out with some really beautiful and feminine designs. I also really love Dion Lee because he is just a genius when it comes to constructing clothing. His current collection really is just testament to that. And in terms of New Zealand designers, you guys know I do love Karen Walker, but I also really love Ruby, which is much more affordable, and they've got some really sweet pieces, particularly for this autumn winter season, so you should check it out. I'll drop links to all the designers down below so you can have a little peek. Now Heidi asked me, does the process of purchasing pieces for my wardrobe change if I'm doing a capsule wardrobe, 30 for 30, project 333, or the 5-piece French wardrobe challenge? So the answer to that is definitely yes. If I'm doing the 5-piece French wardrobe challenge like I'm doing at the moment, obviously I'm going to be buying a lot less, and I'm going to be looking at purchasing basics that are within my budget because I'm obviously kind of sticking towards a price limit. Otherwise it falls within those 5 key pieces that I'm purchasing for the season. When it comes to doing project 333 or project 30 for 30 or any type of capsule wardrobe, and we're not talking about me doing a challenge which is really limiting how much I'm allowed to shop, then yeah, I definitely do still buy things, but I'm buying a lot less and I'm being a lot more considered in my approach. I'm thinking about whether I'm going to wear it next season, how is it going to work with everything else that I have in my closet, and also is the price worth it. So I really take those things into consideration a lot more when I'm doing a sort of a wardrobe challenge. And I've actually found that I have reduced the number of purchases that I make in a year by more than 1/3 in the last couple of years. So wait a minute, I should say more than 2/3. So I'm purchasing less than 1/3 of the total that I was buying about 2 years ago. So that is a really, really huge change for me. And I really think that capsule wardrobes and just trying to really purchase things that fit with my aesthetic and that I'm going to love and wear for a long time have been key in that shift. I am not going to be able to pronounce this username, but I think it is Zoomangling. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but she asks, where do I normally shop, David Jones or online, and what are my recommendations for online shops? So I actually do a lot of my shopping online. I work a little bit out of the city, so it really is a huge deal if I'm going to go to the shops. I mean, I've either got to go on a Thursday night or I've got to go on my weekend, and I really just don't have time to do that. So I tend to find that a lot of my shopping is done online these days. In terms of where I love to shop, if I'm shopping locally, yes, I definitely will shop at David Jones just as I've got a really good selection of designers, but typically I tend to browse a lot on ASOS, and I'm really looking for those things that are fabricated in more natural fabrics where I can, and buying anything that is made in leather. And then I also quite like the Iconic, particularly if they're having a sale. And in terms of international retailers, Net-a-Porter is one of my favorites, as is the Outnet. I also love the real.com because you're buying secondhand, so you're not really contributing to, I guess, that whole waste fill kind of concept. And I think you can get some really great bargains on there. And then I also really like Shopbot and Forward by Elise Walker. Is that too many? There are quite a lot of places that I like to browse online when I get a chance. Katie asks, what is my favorite and least favorite current trend in fashion? I'd have to say my favorite is definitely the off the shoulder. I am loving this dress. This has become one of my favorite pieces in my closet, although I have to say it took me a really long time to find the right piece, and this was really just a bit of a fluke. When it comes to my least favorite trend, I haven't really been following the trends super closely, but I'm not really a big fan of those jeans which have the frayed hems and they're kind of loose fitting, and they seem to be everywhere at the moment. And honestly, every person I've seen them on, they just do not look that flattering, or at least that's my particular opinion. So I'm not really into that whole trend with the denim. Yeah. So Rachel asks me, how do you filter the quality from cheap without spending hours online? And she's kind of talking about when I'm shopping on ASOS, and I tend to find quite good pieces on ASOS. I'm not gonna lie, I spend probably more time than I should on ASOS, and you really do kind of have to go through and look on there to find a good piece. It's all about luck and timing. However, if you want to purchase something from ASOS that isn't too expensive, I would recommend searching ASOS Premium, as I find that the ASOS Premium pieces tend to be made in a much higher quality construction than the standard pieces. And just don't buy anything that's made out of polyester from there, as the polyester pieces aren't really that great. Kat asks, do you have any tips for capsules for uni students, like how to keep things minimal but avoid trekking down to wash everything every week, or how to shop for a capsule on a budget? As a student, I think one of the things that you do look for are trends, and quite often you can find them secondhand. Even on eBay, I'll often find that people are selling pieces that are still current season, just as maybe they wanted to purchase it for an event. So you can always get a bit of a bargain, and sometimes a really big one. I mean, I've bought things for $20 that retailed for well over $500, so it all is a bit of a game of chance, but I highly recommend doing that, particularly if you don't mind buying something that is secondhand. When it comes to washing your clothing less frequently, I really just think that is down to how you wear it. If you are running to your classes, then you're going to be getting a lot sweatier than if you were just walking from class to class. I try and stretch out the number of wears that I am wearing a piece just because I don't want to be laundering everything all the time. Apart from the fact that it is just a pain and a hassle, it also means that you're kind of damaging the integrity of the piece, because the more you wash it, the more worn it is going to get and the less time it is going to last. And aside from that, I would probably recommend just picking up a few more pieces that complement what you already own, just so that you can stretch that out to over 2 weeks or so. Final question I've got comes from Rachel, and she says that she'd love to hear of any inspirational videos or blogs that I use regarding fashion, organization, capsule wardrobes, etc. She also says she'd love to see a little bit of our home. Now, I've mentioned this before, I'm not actually going to be doing a home tour. I know a lot of you have requested it, but you do occasionally see some snaps of it on my Instagram, which is linked down below, and I'll try and pop it here, and also sometimes I guess a little bit on my Snapchat, which again I'll pop here and down below in case you want to add me on that. In terms of videos or blogs that I love watching, a blog that is one of my favorites in terms of inspirational and I guess a little bit more aspirational has to be Gary Pepper Vintage. I think she is incredible. Other style blogs that I really like are Badlands blog. She kind of has that very cool French aesthetic and talks a little bit about capsule wardrobes as well. And then I also really love Darboven. I think that's how you pronounce it. She writes beautifully and she talks a lot about that whole living with less and buying really high quality pieces. In terms of videos or YouTube channels that I really like, I have to say I really like I Am Jen in terms of her fashion videos. She does some really great how to style things multiple ways. And actually that also reminds me, Ingrid Nilsson, she does these really great fashion foreplay videos where she'll wear one piece and she'll style it 4 ways. So I'll link a couple of those videos down below as they're really fun, and she has some really great pieces in her closet. And then I also really love Verena from My Green Closet. She has got some really great tips on how to care for your wardrobe and also how to maintain a minimalist kind of lifestyle, organization, all of that sort of thing. And actually, no, I've got a 4th one. Sorry guys, I lied. Lavender is also wonderful. She has done this whole series on KonMariing your house, and I think it's really helpful if you're thinking of trying to do that yourself or just want some decluttering videos to watch. So I'll link all of those down below for you guys. Anyway, thank you guys so much for every single person who actually took the time to ask me a question. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you if you actually took the time to watch all 4 of these videos. It really means a lot, and yeah, I really enjoyed answering all of these. Don't forget, you can always let me know in the comments down below if there are any video requests that you have, and I will do my best to try and get something up in a timely manner. I really do want to make sure that the content that I'm producing for you guys is things that you really want to watch. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Can't wait to share my next video with you, and I will see you soon. Bye!